Hello and welcome to Boardgame TV, and we're continuing with our history of Ghost Rider in the comics, and we are going to continue with this, and this is going to be Series 4, and it came out in 2011, and this is the final, as of this date, Ghost Rider series that we have. So it's been freaking 8 years just about. Oh, Marvel, you'll need to get your act together. Alright. Well, this series was a pleasant surprise, an unexpected one. I didn't expect a Ghost Rider series to come out so soon after the third series had got canceled. Usually it takes like 5 to 10 years for another Ghost Rider series to come out, but hey, you know, who am I to complain? And this series was born out of the Fear Itself storyline. Now, if you don't know Fear Itself, it was a big mega Marvel crossover about the god of sin. He's like a Norse type thing, bringing destruction upon the earth, and yada yada yada. It was a big flop. It hasn't gone over real well, and so it's not one of the highly regarded series. However, Ghost Rider was born from this series. So it would appear in 2011 with issue 0.1. Yes, again, Marvel's got some kind of weird numbering issue. It would run from 0.1 to issue 9. It would only last 9 issues technically, but it's 10 issues really if you count the 0.1. The 0.1 issue is like a little prelude issue before the Fear Itself storyline. And then in the middle, before the last issue though, there would be as you see, a Circle of 4 series, which issue 8 happened. Then you had the Circle of 4, which was the Red Hulk, X-23, Ghost Rider, and Venom teaming up to take down Blackheart, who had made part of Earth hell, like Las Vegas hell or something. And that ran on for 5 or 6 issues, and then Ghost Rider got issue 9, which was its last issue. The series, the Ghost Rider series, would be penned by Rob Williams. Now, Rob Williams' writing is okay. He, I think he tries to be a little too funny. Johnny Blaze just cracks a bunch of stupid jokes a lot of the time in this series, and a lot of them just aren't funny. And it's not how Johnny Blaze is. But other than that, his interpretation of Johnny Blaze is you know, decent. The series had a lot of potential. It's a shame that it ended because this series introduces a female Ghost Rider. That's right. Johnny Blaze is not really Ghost Rider in this series, and I'll explain that in a minute. But we get a new Ghost Rider, a female Ghost Rider, named Alejandria. And she's actually pretty good, and they could have went a lot. If this series had potential, they could have did a lot of things with her had this series gone on. But seeing how it got canceled around issue 9, she's never really given a chance to shine, and she really hasn't been had an appearance in any other comics for the most part after this series. So for those who accuse me of hating diversity, I like this Ghost Rider. If I were to write Ghost Rider comics, I would bring her back. She's very good. You have a lot of potential with her. Also, he kind of makes Zarathos come back in this series. Yeah, we'll get into that in a second. But basically, he kind of has the lore set up to where that the angel that is the spirit of vengeance that had possessed Johnny Blaze had Zarathos' soul grafted to it by Mephisto way back when. So yeah, at one point you had Johnny Blaze, Zarathos, and this Ghost Rider angel power that was established and Series 3, all kind of sharing the same soul or grafted together. And, so this kind of explains, this kind of says Zarathos is actually the spirit of vengeance, and it's the more dominant personality for this version. She exhibits a bunch of different powers in this book. She can spit out locusts. She can do like the penance stare, but it's like hellfire coming from her bike, or sending. She sends can do that. All she has to do is hit people with it, and it can be like the penance stare. The big thing is that Zarathos inside of her can now open portals. It opens a portal and she can go where she needs to go, and so she could travel around the world instantly. I don't like this. I think it's stupid, actually. I don't remember Zarathos ever exhibiting this kind of power, and it's just a kind of a cheap way of getting her all around the world quickly, which this book does. So there's that. The art on this series has several different artists, and the art on the series is consistently good. It's okay to good. Of course, it's no Saltaires or Tex, but the art is good. So on issues 0.1 to issue 2 is Matthew Clark, and then Matthew Clark also does issue 4. Brian Ching does issue 3. Lee Garbett does 5, and then 7 through 9, and Dalidor Tajik does issue 6. Like I said, all the art is decent and good, so kudos to all of those artists. Basically, the storyline is this. In issue 0.1, Johnny Blaze is the Ghost Rider. He's getting drunk. He's not wanting to be the Ghost Rider anymore. They don't really mention Series 3, all the events that happened to it. So, along comes this guy named Adam, and he's part of the big Fear Itself storyline, and he's basically Adam, the first man, Adam and Eve, and he's the one who caused the original sin and all that. Well, anyways, he offers to take the Ghost Rider power away from Johnny Blaze, and it'll be given to somebody else. Johnny Blaze is kind of hesitant at first, but later on he just basically relents, and so the prelude to the Fear Itself thing is Adam takes the power of the Ghost Rider away from Johnny. Johnny's going to go live a normal life, and he gives it to Alejandria. Now, and this starts the Fear Itself part of the storyline, and the Fear Itself is actually issues 1 through 4. And so, basically, Adam has been getting children and raising them in this temple in Nicaragua, raise them to see which one would be worthy to take the power of the Ghost Rider. They don't know any life but that life, so they've been sheltered and have don't have any idea what the outside world is. And he basically determines that Alejandria, who's a young lady, gets the power of the Ghost Rider. So she gets it, and then what Adam wants her to do is just go and cleanse sin from the world in a big way, and beat that sin guy as well. That way that sin guy can get beat, the world can be cleansed and free of sin. And that's basically what he wants her to do. So he sends her out to go do that. Meanwhile, Mephisto, that's right, not Satan, the devil, or Lucifer, we're back to Mephisto again, gets a hold of Johnny Blaze and says, hey, do you realize what you did? He kind of clues Johnny Blaze as to what he'd done. And the whole thing behind Adam is he wants all sin erased from everybody, but it's also all free will is erased from anybody. So everybody on the entire planet will just be walking around like mindless drones. And Mephisto kind of shows Johnny Blaze what the future holds. So Johnny Blaze kind of makes a deal with him, and basically Mephisto says, you can't be Ghost Rider while she's Ghost Rider, but you can kind of talk her out or try to get her out from under the thumb of Adam, and try to steer her away. You're the one who's had this Ghost Rider power the most. You can know how it works through people and stuff like that. So he kind of agrees, and then you kind of figure out, you come to find out that and this is out of the blue, that the Ghost Rider's power is Zarathos again. And Alexandria is having conversations kind of like with Zarathos in her head and everything. And it basically says that Zarathos was merged with the angel. So it would make a lot of sense in that way if you wanted to bring Zarathos back. So really in the first issue we get a return of Deathwatch and Blackout. And they're enjoying all the carnage that the world is going through with all these Norse gods and sin and everything, tearing everything up. And they run into Alejandra as the Ghost Rider, and she basically penance stares both of them. And leaves them at that. And she fights that Scaldy lady from the Fear Itself thing, and they have a battle, and she kind of gets beat a little bit, but oh well, but not beaten up enough to where there's she's dead or anything like that. So then what kind of happens is she's kind of figuring out that Adam is using her. And so what happens is, during the Fear Itself storyline 4 issues, is basically she betrays Adam and destroys him. You think he's dead, but he's not. He comes back later on. And she is now a Ghost Rider free of the strings of Adam. The whole Fear Itself storyline is done with. And Johnny Blaze says, look, I'll help you out. I offer to help you out. If you need the help, let me kind of be a mentor to you. She kind of poo-poos him away, but she'll end up coming back to him. And she's basically now going to go try to right the wrongs of the world as by being a spirit of vengeance. So that's the first really 4 issues of the storyline. The first issue after that is where she finds out who her real father is. Her real father was a freaking child slaver, and hell, he sold his own children. He's the one who sold her to Adam, and she ends up stopping his current operation and beats him. And then for a couple more issues she just goes around getting into things, trying to set the right from wrong. But the whole point of her thing is she's never been in the outside world. She doesn't know how the world works. She's young. She's a little naive. She just doesn't. She sees things totally different. And so she's exploring the world. It's like a little child has the power of the Ghost Rider. And it could be a really interesting, and it is a really interesting study into the storyline on her psyche and everything. And it works, and it's just a shame that this would not be able to go on. Well, eventually the Adam guy comes back, and he's all burnt up and everything, and he brings back Steel Wind and Steel Vengeance. Now Steel Vengeance is a zombie. The electronic parts of her are working, and he basically cuts a deal with him and says, look, you go get this Ghost Rider, and I'll resurrect your sister fully, and so forth. So they go get Ghost Rider, but Blaze is she's with her now because she's kind of accepted Blaze's mentorship. But early on in her adventure, she just killed a lot of people when she was working for Adam, basically. And she killed a lot of people in Nicaragua at that temple, at this village and everything. And she's felt bad about it. She's trying to make up for what she's done. And of course, Mephisto has the souls of them. But before she can even deal with that, Hawkeye comes. We get a guest appearance by Hawkeye. And we also get a guest appearance briefly by Doctor Strange. So that makes all 4 series Doctor Strange has appeared in. And it's only a couple pages, but at least it keeps up with the tradition. So basically what happens is Hawkeye tries to bring in Johnny Blaze, and then Johnny Blaze is like, look, I'm not the Ghost Rider anymore, want me. And then Steel Wind and Steel Vengeance attack him, trying to use Blaze as leverage to get the girl, Ghost Rider, and then Alejandra shows up. Hawkeye neutralizes her, but Steel Wind and Steel Vengeance take care of Johnny Blaze, and Hawkeye tries to help Blaze, and he gets taken care of, and then they need rescuing by Alejandra. Well, in the end, it's just basically she just really defeats Steel Wind and Steel Vengeance. So you got to assume Steel Vengeance is dead. Steel Wind is not fully dead, and Hawkeye lets Alejandra go and accepts that she's going to try to make things better. And Johnny Blaze and Alejandra go off together so he can mentor her some more. My big pet peeve with this is, if you ever read the end of the last issue of Spirits of Vengeance way back in the 2nd series, Johnny Blaze and Steel Wind made their peace. Now it is conceivable she could turn around and have regret many years later. That's fine, but she did make peace with him. I think they just wanted a female villain that may have been established to go against our female Ghost Rider, which is not a bad idea, actually. Johnny Blaze has his Hellfire shotgun. He's going around shooting people with it. So that's his main weapon. But they make Alejandra a little bit too overpowered in this series. That's the problem with her, and it's dangerously close to being a Mary Sue. Now she isn't, because Hawkeye neutralizes her really, really good with his little magic arrow, but they give her all sorts of powers out of the blue. Like, who in their right mind would have ever thought that a Ghost Rider can spit a horde of locusts from their mouth? Well, I never thought that. She does. And she could turn this bullet train that they were fighting on into a demon train, and it's kind of weird. They just should have got her powers a little bit more under control with her. Well, okay, well anyways, the series ends there at issue 8, and then it goes into the Venom Circle of 4. Now, that series is numbered weird as hell also. And I'm gonna explain to you how it's numbered, man. So the series starts off with Venom issue 13. And then you have issue 13.1, issue 13.2, issue 13.3, issue 13.4, and then issue 14. So I don't know why Marvel was weird number system. You know, it's just it's weird. Tony Moore would would art the first issue, and what's that guy's name? Rick Remender would do issue 1. Issue 13.1 would be written by our own very own Rob Williams, as well as issue 13.2. And Garbett would do the art for issue 13.1. And issue 13.3 would be written by this is Todd Parker, and issues 13.4 and 14 would be written again by Rick Remender. And art would be by Tony Moore and somebody else for the last issue. But the art on this series, basically, all around is decent, good art. So there's no problem with the art on any of it. And basically, like I said before, it's Blackheart is trying to please his father and bring hell to Earth, but he only succeeds in bringing like the city of Las Vegas, where he set up part to make it hell on Earth. And basically, our Alejandria Ghost Rider is there. And it's kind of all by weird circumstances that all these heroes would be there. But it's her, X-23, who is the young clone female version of Wolverine. Don't particularly care for her. I'm not going to say any more. The General Ross, the Red Hulk, which, yeah, I like the Red Hulk. He's pretty cool. You know, he's there. And then we have Flash Thompson Venom, who's, you know, a soldier and everything. And I really don't care for his version of Venom. I prefer Eddie Brock. So, I mean, you know, he's 2 out of the 4, you know, I like. Well, anyways, they basically all got to team up and stop Blackheart. And they eventually do. They stop Blackheart and save the day and make everything back normal again. Then we get issue 9, which is the final issue. And it's basically Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze gets the Alejandria, kind of goes a little out of control a little bit, a little too far. Johnny Blaze has got to stop her, and he basically ends up getting the Ghost Rider power back, and is Ghost Rider. So he's back to square one. He's Ghost Rider again, and he's ready to roam around the Marvel Universe. Alejandria has been burnt up really bad from their battle, but she's still alive, and she wanders off, and that's it. That's the last you see of her. Alright, so what do I think of this series? First thing, the art throughout the series is not bad. It's actually good. So I have no issue with the art of the series. And I understand that it comes from a mega event crossover storyline, and it's a little hampered a little bit in the beginning, so I'm a little lenient on that. My problem is they write Johnny Blaze as a joke cracker all the time, and it doesn't work. He's not that funny. He never has been. It's like this guy's trying to be Jason Aaron or Garth Ennis, but he just doesn't know how, and he has a bunch of stupid Johnny Blaze crack a bunch of stupid jokes. Don't particularly care for it. Other than that, Johnny Blaze is alright. They make this female Ghost Rider, Alejandra. I like her. Like I said, I think she had potential. I would love to see her back again in the Marvel Universe. Just don't make her so overpowered. They were kind of almost borderline ruined it by making her a little bit too overpowered. They stopped just short with all these screwy powers, but the whole idea of a naive woman, a naive young woman who doesn't know anything about the world, having the power of the Ghost Rider and learning is a really good concept. So kudos to them for that, and that's really one of the best parts of this story. That, and then Johnny Blaze, you know, trying to mentor her a little bit. And of course, a few old villains show up. This is the first time we've seen Death Watch in forever. It was nice to see him back, if only for a couple pages. Too bad he got his butt kicked real easy. Nice to see Blackout, and nice to see Steel win again, even though I don't think she would have done what she did in the comic. Everything else is just kind of bland, and that's kind of what this series suffers from. Is it's kind of like forgotten because it's just okay, you know. I mean, it is nowhere near as good as any of the other series, but you know, you can't really fault it because it's only basically 10 issues, you know. So if you were a collector, I would get this series just for Alejandria being Ghost Rider and having a female Ghost Rider. I would get this series just for that alone. Okay, that's worthwhile. It's the best thing about this series. But I would put it down on the list. I mean, I would put it before any of the miniseries, but it would be the last series you should get. Get as much as you can from series 1, 2, and 3 long before you get anything from this series. And then, you know, work on this series. And it's a shame that we haven't had a Ghost Rider, full-fledged Ghost Rider series going on 8 years now. And it's a shame that that one ended so short because it had potential. And you know, of course, I know that the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider series would come out after this, but I'm not counting that. That's garbage. And that one would only last a year as well. So, there we go. So that's my take on the Ghost Rider 4 series. There's really not much to say about it because it's so short, but female Ghost Rider, pretty cool, and would love to see more of her. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time. Well, hold on. There's one more thing I want to discuss real quick. As far as the Venom Circle of 4 series goes, if you are a completionist, of course you really kind of have to get those issues. But if you're not a completionist and you want to know how important those issues are, do you have to get them with this Ghost Rider series? The answer is no. You don't have to get the Venom Circle of 4. It's just a big team-up fight against Blackheart. It really, the only kind of change to it is Alejandria kind of learning a little bit more, and Blaze trying to mentor her a little bit more, and then she kind of goes off the deep end towards the end because of what she wanted to do, and that is, you know, trying to free the souls. And I kind of skipped that part with about this free the souls from Nicaragua. In the last issue, she ended up storming Hell. She found a way to get to Hell and stormed Hell to free the souls and fought Mephisto. And she beat Mephisto. And I have a little bit of a problem with that as well. It's because she's so overpowered. She shouldn't have really beat him, not in Hell. I mean, it's Mephisto. But she doesn't destroy him or nothing like that. And Johnny Blaze comes at the end and saves her from when she's going to, from doing a bunch of bad things. And that's how they fall into this lake of fire. And he becomes Ghost Rider. He takes the power from her, becomes Ghost Rider. And he leaves her with just a little bit enough of power so she'll survive the fall into the lake of fire. But that's how she gets burned up. And then, you know, you have Mephisto saying, "Good riddance. You know, I'm glad you get the hell out of my realm." But yeah, she storms Hell and fights Mephisto in the last issue. I forgot about that. And, you know, all for trying to save the souls that she wanted to save from the people in Nicaragua, which she does. But other than that, yeah, you don't need the Venom issues to complete this series if you don't want to. The main meat of the story is the point 1 through issue 9 of the series. Alright, well that's it. Now, next episode, we're going to do some loose ends and what's been done since 2011. So, until then, I will see you.